Having to deal with ADHD since I was a child, and now having a child of my own dealing with ADHD, has been very hard and very complicated to go through. Before I even realized anything was wrong with my daughter, I was told that it was the end of this kindergarten school year, and was told that she was being held back. I was so mad at those teachers for not telling me anything was wrong with her or anything was going on in the beginning. So yeah, I had all these mixed feelings put into one. I was worried, I was sad, I was angry, disappointed, and not paying any attention to what mattered to her. I was more angry and more disappointed and more sad at the fact that, my daughter's a triplet and she's not going to be able to move on with her brother and her sister or be with them, and she's not going to be able to graduate with them when she's in high school. That bothered me more than trying to figure out what was going on and understanding and trying to, and like I said, it didn't even matter to her that she was being held back in kindergarten. I was more worried about my feelings than I was about hers. I was always yelling at her. I was always frustrated with her. And I just could not understand why she just didn't get it. And that's when I decided that I would start doing research, and found out that she has the inattentive form of ADHD, and she was diagnosed with that as well. Now, there are 3 different types of ADHD, and one of them is called inattentive, which is what my daughter was diagnosed with. That does not have the hyperactive or the impulsive type of ADHD. Now, the second one is the hyperactive and the impulsive put together. And then the third one is called a combined, which is the inattentive, the hyperactive, and the impulsive, all 3 put together. And that form of ADHD is the most common form of ADHD that children are diagnosed with. And according to the website of Healthline, some of the signs and symptoms of ADHD is they are very easily distracted, and they have trouble focusing, which is something my daughter did. Especially when it come time to homework. I couldn't have any noise anywhere in the house, because as she was doing her homework, she would pay attention to what was going on elsewhere. I had to send her brother and her sister off into another room to do their homework, or I had to take her into another room to do her homework because she was not able to focus on that. They often ignore the person that is speaking to them. They also lose their focus and get sidetracked into something else, and that's another thing I also watch my daughter do a lot. They fail to finish projects, which I haven't seen my daughter do that. I have a couple times, but not as bad as I hear that most of the children do. They also interrupt constantly. They cannot sit still. They are jumping from one place to the next, and they do it very inappropriately as well. They also squirm and they fidget, and that's part of not being able to sit still in their chair. They get up when they know they're not supposed to. They're very short-tempered. They dislike, and they do everything they can to avoid tasks that require any type of effort. Such as homework, which that's another thing that I watched my daughter do a lot. My daughter was never short-tempered either, but she would throw these like little fits when I wanted her to do something that was like homework, or put her clothes away, or put her toys away and stuff like that. That's a whole nother ball game. Now, according to what's that site called? Help Guide. Some of the treatments that they have for ADHD, there are medications out there, and some of them are for hyperactive, and some of them are for non-hyperactive. They also need to be playing outside at least 30 minutes or more a day, and that helps. Exercising helps reduce some of those signs and symptoms of ADHD, and especially if they're hyperactive, that gets them moving more and gets it out of their system a little bit better. Eating a healthy diet, such as cutting out red dyes, eating the right types of carbs, fruits and vegetables, those are very good things to make sure that your children eat. Cut out lots of snacks, cut out the sugar. They can still have it, but just in moderation. They also need 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and that helps reduce the symptoms of ADHD, and it also helps them focus because they're not so tired. They also have behavioral treatment and professional help, which I am actually going to suggest to do for my daughter. I want to put her in behavioral therapy. I'm hoping that maybe that will help get her to focus a little bit better and to stay focused, I guess, be able to do projects, be able to do her homework, and other stuff. Parents need to educate themselves. And that actually sets a very good example for those children. And to be consistent with them, you have to be consistent with their treatment. If not, they are going to have a hard time even being able to deal with it themselves. Even though my daughter graduated, sorry, I don't know why I keep saying graduated. Even though my daughter passed kindergarten this year, she barely passed kindergarten. I am very proud that she did, and she had a very hard time doing it. And watching her have that hard time broke my heart. I didn't put her on any medication. I was trying to do this all on my own, and but I could not be consistent with her. I'm barely home. I don't have the time. Being a full-time employee, a full-time student, I can't. And it was hard to watch her go through those moments, and there was more moments than there was good moments. And but I think this coming school year, I will be putting her on medication, just because I can't be consistent with her. Now, even though I have educated myself on ADHD as much as I possibly could have, this is something that is very hard for every parent to go through and deal with. And you need to educate themselves, not only for yourself, but for your child, because they matter the most.